Alright, Psalm 52, part 2. The second research point is on Doeg. We talked about the Maskil. I think I got carried away. Maskil is actually a psalm of instruction. So it's like it's teaching you something. It's teaching you something about the past, or it could be any kind of instruction. There is, I think, quite a bit of instructive psalms. I didn't write them down how many. You can definitely do that. Let's go look at the Doeg part of it. Who is this person? Let's see. Let's see. I found it. Dog. There it is. Doeg. Doeg stands for anxious or cared for. So he cared for something. So what did he care for? He was Saul's herdsman. He was the chief herdsman. He was an Edomite, an enemy of Israel. And he was... let's just read it. This is in 2 Samuel. 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel. Let me try to grab like a grip of pages here. Verse 7. Here we go. So a certain man of the servants of Saul, was there that day, detained before the Lord, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chiefest of the herdsmen that belonged to Saul. So he was, what is this? Taking time to worship. Taking time to worship. I wonder what that's talking about. Oh, detained. So I wonder if he was really worshiping. We'll find out. If this man was really a man of worship. I kind of doubt it. Let's look at verse 6. Okay. So let's go to the reverse here. Actually, back up here in chapter 21. Then came David to Nob, to Ahimelech, the priest. Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone? Why art thou alone? And why no man is with thee? And David said unto Ahimelech, the priest. This answers the third research question. This is Ahimelech the priest. The king hath commanded me a business, which I don't think was true actually, because he was afraid of the king, Saul at the time. He was afraid of him because King Saul had an evil spirit on him, and David knows about this evil spirit because he got to experience it firsthand. And David was hired by Saul to get rid of this evil spirit by using instruments and singing and whatever. And one day he threw a javelin at David. So he's intimately he knows about this problem that Saul has. So why are you alone? Oh, because I'm on business from the king, essentially. Let no man know anything of the business where I send thee, and what I have commanded thee. I have appointed my servants such a place. Now, therefore, what is under thine hand? Give me 5 loaves of bread in mine hand. So Saul's armies were hungry. He was hungry, and he was on the run from Saul. So the priest answered David and said, there is no common bread under mine hand, but there is this hallowed bread. If thy young men have kept themselves at least from women, and David answered the priest and said to him, of a truth, women have I kept from us about these 3 days since I've came out, and these vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in a manner of common, yes, or yea, also, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel. So this bread was used for a specific use to worship God, to honor God, because He is the bread of life. So the priest gave him hallowed bread, for there was no bread but the showbread. So he couldn't provide David with regular bread, but this older bread that was used, so the bread would be replaced. So this is the older bread, and this bread had already been replaced. So the priest gave him the hallowed bread, for there was no bread but this showbread, that it was taken from before the Lord, but to put hot bread on the day when it was taken away. And a certain man, a servant of Saul, was there that day, detained before the Lord, and his name was Doeg, an Edomite, the chiefest of all the herdsmen that belonged to Saul. And David said unto Ahimelech, is there not here under thine hand a spear or sword? For I have neither brought my sword nor my weapons are with me, because the king's business required haste. And this is the sword of Goliath, and he was able to get this sword. And so I believe that this incident, that Doeg witnessed it. He saw it from a distance or whatever it was. He saw this incident that it took place, and he basically told his. I'm going to go back here. So this 22nd chapter, it brings back up. It betrays David here. The 22nd chapter, verse 9. So it's over here. Verse 8, it says like this. That all you have conspired against me, that there is none that shows me my son hath made a league with my son Jesse, and there is none of you that is sorry for me, or shows me that my son hath stirred up my servant against me to lie in wait as is this day. Then answered Doeg, well, I saw this person, the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob to Abimelech, the son of Ahitub. The son of Ahitub, I think, is related to the high priest. I'll have to look that up. And he inquired of the Lord for him, and gave him uh, victuals, or food, and gave him the sword of Goliath the Philistine. So he ratted him out. But it's worse than that. It's worse than that. The king called Abimelech the priest, the son of Ahitub, and all the father's house and the priest were Nob, and they came unto him to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my lord. And Saul said unto him, Why have you conspired against me, thou... Hold on. Thou and the son of Jesse, then thou hast given him bread and a sword, and hast inquired of God for him, that he should rise up against me to lie in wait as at this day? Then, he's lit, basically. Then Ahimelech answered the king, and said, Who is so faithful among all thy servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goes at thy bidding, and is honorable in thy house? Because he didn't know. He thought that David had sent him on a secret message or a mission. So he was speaking the truth as best he could. Did I then begin to inquire of God for him? Be it far from me. Let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. That's true. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die! Sorry, I yelled. That's terrible. And Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house shall die, basically. He said it. Wait, there's a verse here. It is Deuteronomy 24:16. So, the fathers shall not be put to death for the children, neither shall the children be put to death for the fathers. Every man shall be put to death for his own sin. So, if he didn't sin, then he shouldn't be put to death. That's what I understand. Okay? Alright. Alright, let's try to find the actual verse here. Okay, here we go. It's verse 17. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, Turn and slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand also was with David. That's it, their hand was with David. David is the king's son, in the king's court. And the king was supposed to protect David. But instead, because of this evil spirit within him, he wanted everyone related to David to be killed, pretty much. Even his own son, at one point, wasn't immune to this. I'm talking about Jonathan. Slay the priests of the Lord, because their hand was with David, because they knew when he fled, and did not show it to me. But the servants of the king would not put forth their hand and fall on the priests of the Lord. And the king said to Doeg, Turn thou and fall on the priests. And Doeg the Edomite, well, he did it. He turned and fell on the priests, and slew on that day fourscore, that's 80, 80 priests, and 5 persons, so it's 85 persons that did wear a linen ephod, which is terrible because that represented the authority of God. So, and Nob, the city of the priests, smote he on the edge of the sword, both men and women, children and sucklings. So everyone related to the priests too. Not only just the priests and the people, but also the oxen, the asses, and the sheep with the edge of the sword. So this is a terrible, like a genocide. It's really terrible. But the Bible records this truth that it actually happened. So one of the sons of Ahimelech, the son of Ahitub, named Abiathar, escaped and fled after David. So this is pretty cool that God actually appointed one person to survive this incident. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the Lord's priests. And David said unto Abiathar, I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there, that he would surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. And he was really sad. Abide thou with me, fear not, for he that seeketh my life seeketh thy life. But with me thou shalt be in safeguard, or be protected, because God is protecting him. Okay, so this incident is sad. This Doeg person was in charge of Saul's flocks, and maybe he just wanted to get recognition. I don't know what it is, but he was. And if you look up the Edomite people, you will see Jacob's brother Esau is an Edomite, and although maybe he's not the one responsible particularly for Moses's crossing, and how Moses tried to cross the area over there just so that they could get to the other side or whatever, and God did not like that, how they treated Moses's people, the ones that the Israelites. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to Psalm 52. And so the next point of information here is the house of Elimelech. I'll see if I can find some more information about that. If not, then I'm going to move on to the next part, the verse 1. So you guys have a great day.